When life gets real, the mic stays warm. Hosted by the dad with lots of charm. Insights are sharp and data's tight. The lens already and the jokes online. Hot takes, real talk, keeping it true. From high school halls to podcast cues, laugh a little, learn a lot. Turn it up, this show is hot. Grab your coffee and let's get into it. No filter, no fluff, just real talk. Let's do it. Ready or not, here we go. It's time for Muffman to start the show.
Hey, what do you think about those new graphics?
I like them.
You like them?
Picasso.
Picasso?
Yeah. You never heard that?
Welcome back, 2020. Welcome to Hot Takes with the Murphman. I am the Murphman. I am your host. Here with my co-host, Connor. How are you doing today, Connor?
Doing good today, Murphman. How are we doing today?
I gotta tell you, it's a wonderful, wonderful morning.
And why do you say that?
I finished season 1 of Ted Lasso, finally.
And when did you start it?
Yeah, I started last night.
Yeah,
I binge watched the
God.
first season.
Yeesh. Okay.
No, but actually, yesterday was official. I am an entrepreneur. I own my own business officially. And the owner of Borderlands Success Holdings, LLC.
Yay.
Yeah, right.
Congrats.
So that's why you saw the Borderland Entertainment, Murphman Entertainment, Borderland Motion Works. I have so much involved with it, it's not even funny, right? But yeah, so officially an entrepreneur. Isn't that pretty cool?
That's cool.
I am my only employee right now. Hopefully that gets to grow. One of my friends says, I hope you remember us when you're rich. I said, if I'm rich, you're working for me.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm going to bring up all my friends. And there's some that I'm not going to bring up.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what. What's the episode for today, Connor?
Episode 45. Professional communication 101 with email, slacking, and having meetings.
Not slacking. Slack.
Well,
That's an app.
Oh, I thought you meant like, because we're talking about communication, so I thought you meant like poor communication, like slacking. You know what I mean?
Got to tie in the boat.
No, I'm just moving it.
Slack is an app that's used by companies like Teams or Google Meets. Slack is another one of those that you can send communications back and forth on. And we'll talk more about that today. You know what I mean?
Huh.
But before we get started, I want to remind everybody, this is our show. We're not professionals, although we pretend to play one on this podcast. And we tend to debate several different topics. If you were here last week, our ADD was in full gear. And we covered, I don't know how many different subjects last week, right?
I think like 8.
At least we didn't talk about nuclear explosions.
Yeah, not that time. Yeah.
At that time, right? So, we tend to get off subject, and we do sometimes get into heated conversations. And this is just a genuine show. It's not pre-planned or nothing. Well, my stuff is pre-planned for what I'm going to be talking about. But whatever happens between us and here is, honest to God, straight up real.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes it's fire.
Sometimes it's not.
Sometimes it's a mood. Right?
Yeah. Mood. Ugh.
What?
Never heard you say that.
I've been telling myself I have to use that at some point. I keep forgetting. Today I remembered.
Oh God. Okay.
If you've been watching the show, one of the things we joke about is the 6-7 rule. And last night I was telling Connor that he's the one that keeps playing that 6-7. I stopped doing that a long time ago, and that's when I said, okay, I got to use the new one on him. It's a mood.
You got it into my head.
But it's fun, right?
I guess.
And speaking of 6-7, we're on episode 45 today of 69. So we are 2/3 of the way through this. Now, what I mean by that is, for those of you who've been watching, we have college prep stuff. We have all this information that I want to share with everybody. So that's what the premise of the show is. And I have 69 episodes specifically that I want to share with everybody. And if you go to our YouTube channel or Twitch, you can, or not Twitch, on YouTube, you can find it at Pure Hot Takes. You can find all of our episodes from episode 1 to now. And I want to have 69 episodes because, as you know, 69 is my favorite number, right? That's the year I was born. And I want to be able to do something special for 69. So I have 68 episodes of information, and at 69, which will probably be close to the beginning of the year if I plan it correctly, if I'm not mistaken, we'll have a different format on the show and everything. We'll go back to hot takes, not just educational, because of all the different stuff that I'm doing now.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But I'll tell you what, Connor, let's go ahead and ignite that fuse and let's get the show officially started.
Sounds good.
Today on Professional Communication 101, email, Slack, and meetings, let's step out of the shadows and into the spotlight. How you communicate at work, in emails, on Slack, and in meetings defines your professional reputation. This episode covers the unwritten rules of digital and in-person communication, so you can come across as clear, competent, and collaborative. The fuse is lit. Murphman, take the mic.
All right, so email, Slack, and meetings. Let's step out of the shadows and into the spotlight. Why is this? How you communicate at work in emails, on Slack, or in meetings defines a professional reputation. All right, the one thing that Connor always says to me: why do you have to like put punctuation in your texts? Right?
Yeah, why do you do that?
It's called professionalism. It's
But
also called being a boomer.
yeah, okay. I was like, but I'm your son. Why do you got to be like so professional with
Because
me?
you need to know where the sentence stops and starts and where you want to pause or whatever.
I took English. I could determine it myself, and if I
Okay,
can't, then
So if I
that's
sit here and go,
sad.
okay, today I'm going to talk about this, and I got to pause at some point. You got to do the same thing in texting, same thing in emails. You know,
Okay, but if you're just texting like someone for personal use, not even for professionalism,
well,
you don't need punctuation or capitalization.
well, that's English, right? But today we're going to talk about those unwritten rules, those things that come across as clear, competent, and collaborative. All right, that's what this is about. Is not just sending an email, because we can send emails all day long, but sometimes you get that email. Have you ever seen how do I say shut the hell up in my email? Or, yeah, you already told me this. Say, per our last email. There's this way to phrase it, right? And one of the things, like the communication we were having with this company we work with yesterday, right? I was not happy with them. And I sent them very strict. Did I curse? No. Did I say bad words? No. But I was like, this is what's going to happen, right? And they stopped responding to me because their system was down. But when they came online, they got my apologies. That's the first thing they said. And then they went on to say stuff. I was getting frustrated because they weren't replying, but their system was down, so they weren't getting the messages. So when you send an email or a message, you assume it's gone through.
Well,
Okay. Sometimes it can go to spam. Sometimes it doesn't get through. Now, I will tell you, I had this one supervisor I worked with, and I sent her an email in April that said, hey, for this coming school year, I want to do this X program, right? And I want to be able to promote it over the summer. So can you please get back to me before school year ends in May? Hey, what's the deal here? When I came back in August, I sent her an email and I said, okay, we didn't get to promote this over the summer, but are we still going to be able to do it or not? And I still didn't get a reply. So I texted her and I said, I need to talk to you. I've emailed you 3 times since April and you have not responded to me. And she comes over to me and she's like, I am so sorry. She says, your emails go into the other folder, not focused. And I said, so? You don't read your other emails? She says, no. Wow. So when I resigned, I sent her an email. I said, I need to talk to you, right? And then I followed up with a text. I need to talk to you today because we were going on vacation. And I said, I sent you an email. I sent you a text. I need to meet with you today. I know it's a busy day, but we need to meet. I went in there and I said, I'm resigning. And she says, when? And I'm like, 3 days after we come back from vacation. You know, would that have been appropriate for me to send her an email that said, hey, I'm resigning? Live with it?
Well, no, because you need to talk to them. But I mean, yeah, you need to give them the week's notice. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, could I have given them an email 2 weeks before and said, today's my last day? Well, not really, because the way the situation boiled up, I only found out on Wednesday. By Friday, I was quitting. Okay. But you can't be sneaky like that. Okay. Email is not made for that. Even if you know they're not reading it, you can't send a message by email and expect to say, oh, I notified you.
I mean, yeah.
That doesn't work either, right? At the same time, it's their responsibility to be checking their emails. When she told me I haven't even read your emails, I was like, wow. I was really upset. I said,
well, I mean, you might not be the only one, dude.
I know I'm not the only one. But my point to her was, I have a program that I wanted to do since April and had you promoted. And it turns out she really wasn't big on military families, right? So it is what it is, right? But I tried everything I could. But the point is that she wasn't reading emails from people if you weren't on her focused email. And I'm like, I'm in your school. You should have me on focused emails. I don't know how you get onto the focused emails, right? If you can interact with a few people a few times, that's when you get to focused. But using Slack or an app where you can actually send out messages, right? Sometimes it's faster.
Mm-hmm.
Google Meets, right, has that chat feature where you can send a message to each other. And it's funny because like we'll be in a meeting, like a Zoom meeting like we are now, and some people will be sending each other messages. Look at Murph, he's wearing a Colorado Rockies shirt. Or, you know, like we make fun of each other, or I'll say, dude, stop poking your nose, you're on camera. You know, stuff like that. We have that chat going aside from the main room.
Okay.
But all those emails and all those chats are company property, and they can have access to that anytime they want. So if you're sending and we talked about this with your school email, if you're sending each other information, the system is set up to screen emails. And if it says, here are the answers to test number 2, something like of that effect, the scan picks it up, and they can pull out your personal email from school email between 2 people and say, we have proof you're cheating. Because it's not your property, it's theirs. So when you're communicating at work, even though it's a chat and you know no one reads chats, everything is scrutinable.
Mm-hmm.
Scrutinable. It's scrutinized. It's scrutinable. Scrutinized. Everything is reviewed, everything is checked, everything is reviewed. That's what scrutinized means. But scrutinable, I don't think is a real word.
You've never heard scrutinized, so I don't even.
Oh, you're the guy who took English, huh?
Basic English.
Basic English. Okay. I graduated with ESOL, so you tell me.
Yeah, you tell me, Dave.
You know, Spanish is my second language. You know. Anyway, it's hard to believe, right? What?
I thought it was your first.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I said that, and I was like, wait a minute. Spanish is my first language. English is my second language. This is what I meant to say. English was my second language. So, you know, everything is scrutinized, and you got to be careful what you send each other. Now, the other thing is I can send you a nasty message by email, by text, by chat.
Mm-hmm.
I can delete them now. Before we couldn't. Now you can delete a message. And if you say something to the wrong person or send a picture to someone you're not supposed to, a comment you're not supposed to, a document you're not supposed to, you can unsend it, which is pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
But being professional, you have to understand that that communication can be screenshot or shown to other people. And it's funny because, like, where I work right now, I've had some issues, and I want to talk about this throughout the show, but I was upset with some people. And I work with NHS students, and they just weren't doing their part. And I tried everything I could, and it just was not working. And I was getting frustrated. I asked for help from my coworkers. I got ideas from her. Nothing was working. I finally said, okay, I want to take NHS off their transcript. I'm at that point where I'm just like done. And I said, I need to talk to you. And so she calls me, and I tell her, I appreciate you calling me. I said, I don't want to put this in the message. I said, but I am really, really unhappy with my kids right now. And I'm ready to do this. And I said, if you want to communicate professionally and want me to send you an email, I'll be happy to. But I need to vent more than anything right now. And she tells me, Sean, let it go. And one of the phrases she used, I didn't know this, but she's a Ted Lasso fan, is be a goldfish. Do you know why you want to be a goldfish?
Because they don't think, they just do.
Well, the memory only lasts like 10 seconds.
Oh, well, maybe that's why.
And you forget like 10 seconds later, you're like, okay, it is what it is. But I told her, I said, if you prefer that I send you this in an email, I will send this in an email and tell you all my concerns. And she said, no, Sean, that's okay. You know, that's cool. Because I'm more venting than anything, right?
Yeah.
But getting feedback and everything. We can do that on Zoom also, right? But sometimes you have no choice but to send that email. And for example, when I started this business, right? And I started doing the podcasting and all this other stuff, and I got on Roku and everything, right, whatever. I sent her texts, and I said, hey, check this out, right? Check this out. So when school started, because it was over the summer, she says, you're back, you're here. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. She says, are you sure? So throughout the year, I all the things that were happening last year, she was just like, oh, I got to get used to you being gone. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. Don't worry. I'm hesitant to send her my business card because it literally has other businesses on it, right? And she's not going to believe that I'm going to stay working here. Although, honestly, if you're listening to this right now, I'm not going anywhere. Okay? Tell her. All of this is being done after work. Everything's done after work. So I don't want to lose the benefits here. This is my full-time job. This is where I make my money. The other's just, it's a business, but now it's a hobby that's turned a little more professional.
Yeah.
And that communication is so important. Now, what's funny is we have friends who will text each other outside of work, but it's work stuff. Right?
I mean, yeah.
Is that professional?
I mean,
or is it personal?
Depends what they're talking about.
If understand this, if you go to somebody and I pretend you're my friend Connor, I'm like, hey, did you hear what happened to Billy? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Of course. Are you gonna want to hear what happened to Billy?
I mean,
we all love gossip, right?
Coworker, yeah.
But at the same time, what do you have to be thinking in your brain? Careful what I tell this person because they can't keep a secret.
Yeah.
Right? Any friend I've ever talked to can tell me any secret they want because I've never repeated gossip.
Mm.
Right? I tell people I love gossip because it's information. Like, for example, this is real. We had a guy in my club that was dating 4 women.
Okay.
And we didn't know that, right? And my wife and I one day, we had a friend call us, and she's really upset. right? And she found out this guy was cheating on her. And then another friend called us. I say us, called her. Then another friend called us. And we realized he was dating 4 women, then dumped all 4 for 1.
Oh my God. And they're all your friends?
Well, yeah, well, we were small, we were very tight back then. And because we knew everyone's gossip, right? We knew this guy could not be trusted. Right?
Yeah.
Did we tell the other 4 people that we knew? No.
Well, I mean, they had to figure it out sooner or
Well,
later, right? If,
well-
if you're all friends in the same club,
They did, but I wasn't the reason they found out.
well, I know.
Now, I will tell you this. I had all 4 of them come over to the house, and we were partying and drinking and whatever, socializing, and all 4 of them started talking about this guy. You know, my wife was there, and because I'm married to her, you know, I was there too. I said, "Do you guys want me to leave?" And they're like, "No, we know you're not going to like share this information with anybody." And that's one of those things that when someone talks to you and says, "Hey, I'm going to tell you this, but please don't let them know I told you," I've decided I'm never going to tell that person a secret.
I mean, yeah.
Okay, remember that. Same thing for work. If you're talking about work issues and then they go rat you out, be careful what you tell that person. Okay, if you're gonna send an email, understand that email is proof of what you said, and they can send it to anybody they want. They can forward it to anybody they want. And we're gonna talk about this in a little bit, but I'll tell you what. Let's talk a little bit more about the burning question today,
Mhm.
and let's get to the meat of the show.
Sounds
All right.
good.
Let's settle this once and for all. Luck or true competence? Today's burning question is, what is the most common mistake people make in professional emails? Is it A, not using a clear subject line? Or B, using too many emojis? Could it be C, hitting reply all when it's not necessary? Maybe it's D, writing an overly long email. Which one is it? Murphman, step up and settle the debate.
All right, let's talk about this. What is the most common mistake people make when sending out a professional email, Connor? What do you think it is? A, B, C, or D? A is not using a clear subject line. B, too many emails. I mean, too many emojis. C, hitting reply all, or D, just writing an overly long email.
I think it's A, not using a clear subject line.
That's simple. Why do you think that's the correct answer?
Because that's the main topic of the email,
Right?
and if you're not clear with that, then
It
we
gets
don't know what you're
bypassed,
talking about.
right?
Yeah.
Like when I sent that email to my supervisor, it said summer program. That's all it was.
Summer program.
Yeah, because it was something I was going to do over the summer. In May, the subject line was second message on summer program. In August, it was
Third message.
no. It was, can I speak with you about the summer program? Now, that did not get her attention because she wasn't reading the emails. But that third message was like, okay, hold on. A summer program is already passed. Like, why are we talking about this? Because I sent you 2 messages before summer. And I kept the same title in the message, although I changed it up.
Yeah.
So like that, she can see, oh, there was this, it's a thread, right? Even though it's different emails, they're related. They're not three. There's not one saying, okay, I want to talk to you about a program I want to do. Next was like, hey, can we discuss the summer? Third program is, hey, school started. What's going on? You know, that looks like 3 different emails, even though it's all the same subject. So you don't have to send the same subject line every time, but try to keep the same subject if you're sending a new message on that subject. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. Now, the reply all, my favorite story for reply all, there's been horror stories, right? People hit reply all, thinking they're replying to their friend, and they send one, like, for example, a message comes down, and then I send a message to Connor that says, can you believe this stupid blah, 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 whatever? And you send it to everybody. That happens so many times, okay? One time at a school I was working at, when I was in that position where I was just like the lowest person on campus, I was part-time. And they sent out a message to all teachers, all staff that said, hey, if you need a graduation gown, can you let us know? Well, I wrote back, I'd like to get my master's of education because I lost mine. And she wrote back to me and she says, you replied all. That's all it said. I'm like, oh man, do I send another message that says, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to send that to everybody? No, I just let it go, right? It wasn't anything inappropriate, but I did reply all. But what was funny was I got maybe about 20 replies to that email saying, you have a master's degree and you're working at this. I had to explain my situation to 20 different people, right? It wasn't a bad thing, but what if I had said something stupid? That's where ever since that moment, I'm like, okay, reply all is something you got to be very careful with. At the start of the school year, we have teachers that have to send out. Well, they don't have to send out. They have to add everyone to their X amount of whatever we have to do, and it says, "Do not send notification." That's an option.
Okay.
Because, like, for example, I have a document like All Dogs Deserve Dads, my file, right? I send it to H, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could have added 10 different emails to access that. And I could have clicked on notify them and they would have gotten an email. Murphman has shared this with you, right? But I let 10 people have access to my document, but I did not notify them because Joe would have the meeting and goes, here's the link for everybody. You guys can click on the link and they have access to it. Getting an email that says you have access to this document doesn't matter because they don't even know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So be careful when you're like using Google Suites and you're sharing with people. You can add their address. You don't have to notify them. And I didn't know this also. People on my calendar that I shared with, every time I made a change, they got an email. I got an email from my boss, stop changing. I'm like, what? It's because I put on something, I'm like, okay, update all the events. And then I'm like, oh man, I need to go change Tuesday's date on this one to Wednesday. Change that. And then I had to change it. So it kept sending out messages to everybody. And I'm like, but I'm not hitting notify people. Apparently, if you're in the system, it does it automatically.
Mm.
So part of the professional communication is learning how your system works, like Slack or email. Understand it, because when you're using a group of programs like Teams or Google Meets or all that, if you're using the Google Suite, sometimes you have to give everybody access to your document. And when you make changes to that document, everyone gets notified automatically, even if you don't send notification.
Mm.
So be aware of those changes. And there was even one time where I was on my phone and I went to my calendar to put an appointment. And then my coworker texted me, hey, Sean, you put that on the work email or the work calendar. I was like, thank you. Because I had them all on my phone. And I didn't realize you had to enter it and select your profile before you enter it, because that tells the calendar which one you're putting it on.
Okay.
Even though they're all shown on the same calendar, I didn't know how this worked. It was just something when I was still learning how to use it. And yeah, he's like, hey, be careful. But I'll tell you what, let's go to today's hot take, and let's talk about those things that make it an interesting show. Go ahead whenever you're ready, Connor.
When I tell you this corporate secret, you're going to be angry. Today's hot take is, your professional reputation is built on how you communicate. Whether it's an email, a Slack message, or a meeting, if you aren't intentional, clear, and concise, you're not just wasting time, you're signaling that you lack the focus to be a high-value contributor. Murphman, it's your turn to fan the flames.
So looking at that, Connor, okay, is how you communicate. If I am known for sending long text messages that just ramble, or now we have the voice capability, right? You can send a voice message.
Mm-hmm.
I had someone send me an 11-minute voice message one time.
God.
I'm not going to sit there and listen to 11 minutes of it. I'm not. I fast forwarded through it. Did I hear the whole message? No. But I was not going to listen to 11 minutes of a message. Right?
Like, I read the transcript, maybe. But
Maybe.
I'm not going to just listen.
Yeah.
If it was in person, it'll be different.
Even then, you're like, okay, dude, like, just get to the point.
Well, but that's when you can, like, communicate, like, tell them stuff back also instead of waiting for the whole 11 minutes to say something.
Yeah. One of the things that I'll tell you real quick, we had a meeting with stream915.com, and the guy who runs it was like trying to do everything he possibly could to make it work. And all of the content creators were trying to do everything. And I said very simply, one of the reasons you're not succeeding is you don't speak Spanish. It's a very racial comment, right?
Well, I mean, yeah. But it also makes sense knowing when El Paso, everybody speaks Spanish, mostly.
I went to one meeting and got 5 referrals for a job because I speak Spanish.
Dang. It's crazy.
Yeah. Literally, I got one company that's like, I want to do business with you immediately. They're like, I like the way you carried yourself. I like the way you talk. And I'm like, wow. Okay. You know, what was funny though is when I started speaking Spanish in the meeting, I hear someone in the back go, oh man, he speaks Spanish. You know? But you know, he gave this long explanation, long speech. Wasn't overly long, but and what do you think, Sean? And I'm like, you don't speak Spanish. And that was my contribution to the meeting. But I'll tell you what, everyone agreed that was the reason. So sometimes you don't have to have this long reply. Make it relevant and to the point. Right? Also be careful who you're talking to, because you don't want to say something stupid to someone who's in power or whatever. But yeah, it's one of those things that learning how to communicate and cutting to the bone, straight to the point, is very important. I can talk a lot. We know that.
I mean, yeah, look at the podcast.
Right.
I wonder how many hours you talked combined with all episodes we've done.
Probably about 45.
It was 2 hours long.
Right.
And we've done 45.
Right. So you would think 90.
It's more than 45.
But then we have about 25 minutes of commercials and episodes and everything. So take about half of it. And at the beginning, we weren't doing 2 hours. We were doing an hour, hour and a half. So on average, I'm thinking between 45 to 60 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said, 45.
Okay. I guess, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like we've been talking right now for 30 minutes. But how long have the videos been? 45 seconds each. So that's technically a minute and a half, 2 minutes and 15 seconds that we haven't talked because the videos have been playing. And right now we're going to play a video for 4 minutes. Right? So it all adds up over time. But anyway, the point being is when you communicate, you want to make the point. And then you can discuss it all you want. But
make the point first.
Yeah. Okay. When you have an issue, if someone says, what's the problem? I like to play the devil's advocate. Do you know what that is?
No.
I take the contrary point of view. So I don't care what we're talking about. You might be telling me something, and you already have your point of view. So I can agree with you, right? But I want to make sure we have another opinion in the room. Doesn't mean you have to go with that opinion, agree with it or anything, but don't be so close-minded that you don't open your mind to other things. Okay. Like if we're talking about, let's go eat at a restaurant, right? I've learned, I don't ask, where do you want to go eat? I ask you, what do you want to eat? Because based on what you want to eat, we can choose where.
Yeah.
Now, if I say a burger, well, what's the question you ask me?
Which one? We have like 5 places by us.
Right, but there's another question you ask me.
Fast food, like dine in or
fast food? Like how much time do we have? Right.
Yeah.
You start asking all these other questions that are relevant to the do you want to eat?
Because they all have certain restaurants that go with it.
Right. Yesterday, we were going to go eat lunch, and we went to one restaurant, and it was full. Then I said, hey, there's another restaurant over here. Let's check that out. And I said, we've never been here. Let me check out the menu, because that was a seafood place. I was curious what they had for Connor. And the catfish was like $20. I'm like, no, we're not going to go eat there. And you're like, let's go to Jack in the Box. I'm like, I don't want Jack in the Box. That's, And I took you to another restaurant, because I know you don't know the name of that restaurant. But you're like, oh, yeah, I remember this, right?
Yeah.
I said, or we can go eat this place.
Since it's right there.
Since it's right across the street. And you're like, let's try that other place because we haven't tried it. So we did, right? But that whole conversation was very, very to the point. Even though it was a long conversation and we were driving around trying to figure out, everything we said to each other was, okay, what about this? Next answer, next question, next answer. It was we weren't just sitting there discussing it. It was like question, answer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we finally found a place to eat. Wasn't the best place, apparently, right? But we've never been there before, and we want to go back again.
Yeah, that place was like a one and done.
Yeah.
So.
And speaking of one and done, I think the first segment of the show is over. It's time to take a break. What do you think?
Yeah, sounds good for a little break right now.
Stay tuned. We'll be back after the break.
It's time for a break. Hot Takes with the Murph Man will return after these messages.
According to the VA's suicide data report, an average of 22 veterans die by suicide every single day. This figure is a sobering reality and a crisis that demands our immediate attention and compassion. We must recognize and address the fact that every 24 hours, 22 veterans are losing their lives to suicide. The war doesn't always end when our veterans come home. The invisible wounds they carry, wounds that are real and heavy, require continuous support. No veteran should have to carry this burden alone. Many veterans experience stress and disconnection as they navigate life after service. But there is hope, there is help, and you are not alone in this fight. There's a vibrant community ready to support you, offering friendship, understanding, and shared experiences. You served your country, now let us serve you. Don't fight the toughest battle in silence. Your mission now is to reach out. Dial 988, then press 1. Text them at 838255. The Veterans Crisis Line is available 24/7. Every day, we save lives. Your life is invaluable, and your service is honored. Let's work together to make 22-0 again. No veteran should face their struggles alone. Together, we can ensure every veteran finds the support and hope they deserve.
He gets help, but he still feels off. Sees an ad on the TV about a dog batting said, this is a man's best friend. Whoa, so he goes one day and he picks it up. Never thought a dog could bring so much love and put a smile on his face. But he's finally found a saving grace. He needs help, but he don't know the path to take or the way to go to be free. Put his mind at ease. We will help, 'cause we can't stand to see a soldier go to God by their own hands. We will do everything we can to make 22-0 again.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard, MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome, Quack.
Program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
The web at mbradio.u.
All right, we're back. What do you think of that video, Connor? I talk about this video every week. It's probably the only video I can say I've shown every week.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. I like it.
You know, if you saw the video, it's about suicide awareness. If you feel that you need some help, dial
988, right?
and press
1.
Very good.
Okay, yeah. Yay. I just
You didn't know that was going to be a test for you, huh?
No.
Now, you don't have to be a veteran to call that number, but there's help 24/7, 365, or 6 if it's a leap year.
6 for a leap year?
365 days a year,
Oh, yeah.
or 366 if it's a leap year.
Okay.
Understand now?
Yeah. I forgot a leap year was an extra day. We haven't had one in years.
Do you know where the world's largest leap year festival is?
Where?
Anthony? Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know why, but
What do they do or what?
I don't know.
Like, that's their 4th of July or something?
yeah, no, I don't know what the deal is, but Anthony's like the capital of that.
Huh.
Now, here locally, I never taken you because
That's Anthony.
no,
That's
no,
like 30 minutes away.
You meant it's the July 4th. You know where I want to go for July 4th?
Where?
Roswell.
We can wait till next
It's about 2.5 hours away. But do you know I want to go to Roswell?
No.
I mean, why I want to go to Roswell for July 4th?
Why?
It's their alien convention.
Okay. And you want to go there because you want to meet an alien?
No. I married one. Your face. No, because it's a really big convention. It's where all the conspiracy theorists all join for a weekend about aliens conspiracies, and I think that'd be funny to hear their stories.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I have my own conspiracy theory. What?
My own. Okay, alien.
Well, let me ask you a question. Okay. The entire world has pyramids. There's pyramids in South America. There's pyramids in North America. There's pyramids in Egypt. There's pyramids in China. And they're finding pyramids in a lot of places. I know you don't know this, but in Mexico City, or maybe not Mexico City, but Chichen Itza, okay, they found a pyramid. It was covered by dirt, and they uncovered it. And they say they've only uncovered maybe about 15% of the pyramid. It's one of the largest pyramids in the world. They have to excavate, like, it's just not worth it. Okay. But why is it that the whole world had pyramids, but in the modern, quote unquote, modern civilization, the Romans had columns for support? Yeah. Now here's what's really interesting. Do you know anything about
What's
Roman?
the columns got to do with pyramids?
It doesn't. But I'm saying, why is it that the whole world had pyramids except for Romans?
I don't know.
Well, that's my question. Is it aliens? Because how can civilizations around the world all have pyramids that have the same kind of images or hieroglyphics or whatever you want to call them, and Romans don't have that? But they were more advanced than everybody. And the other thing is, in Egypt, do you remember the movie National Treasure? When they find everything at the end, right?
Yeah.
The girl picks up these scrolls and she goes, "These are the scrolls from Alexandria." At that time, there was a library in Alexandria, Egypt, that had all the world's knowledge. So everyone would come to Egypt to read the scrolls or to write their scrolls. So basically, it was a way of sharing knowledge. It was the internet back then. and it burned down, and it took the world's knowledge with it.
Mm-hmm.
So if it wasn't written or could not be rewritten, the person who wrote it is gone, and no one read it, knowledge is gone. Did you know there was actually vending machines in Egypt? They had a coin they could put into a machine and it would pop something out, like a fruit or something.
Like automated or just
Yeah, no, like you would put a coin in and they had that kind of technology back in those days. Imagine how far technology would have come had we not had that burned down. We were talking about traveling in time, and if it was possible, where would you go and what would you do? I would go and stop the fire in Alexandria.
how did it even happen or what?
I don't know. That's not part of the story.
Well, it's just something nice to know.
Yeah, and another thing,
Because whatever's on purpose.
who knows, right? But one thing about the Romans is, have you heard of Roman concrete?
No.
Okay, you know the buildings, the Colosseum, the columns, all of that has been standing around for thousands and thousands of years. Why doesn't that concrete deteriorate?
It's well taken care of.
Nope. Something that the Romans do is, or did, they put lime into their cement mixture. And that lime is a stone that when it gets filled with water, it grows. And lime pulls together. So that when there's a crack in the cement, normally nowadays, water goes in and breaks it apart and just erodes it away. Roman concrete actually has lime in it, that limestone that pulls it together and makes it stronger from the inside. So that's why the structures in Roman civilizations have stood the test of time, because of the Roman concrete. Like I told you at the beginning of the show, we tend to get ADD-ish and change subjects, but I rant. But I'll tell you what, let's get back on track and let's talk about some of those definitions that we're going to be talking about today in our segment called Laying Down the Coals.
Define your value. Define the ask. Before we dig in, let's clarify some of the key terms we'll be using today while laying down the coals. Communication etiquette. The expected norms for professional correspondence, including tone, timeliness, and format. Digital body language. The cues, styles, and signals you send through your digital communications, such as using emojis or exclamation points. Meeting preparedness. The act of reviewing agendas, preparing talking points, and being ready to contribute value. Now that the coals are laid, Murph Man, let's discuss the foundation.
So, communication etiquette, right? The norms of communication is not how we send text messages. We've established this. You want to be more professional. You want to have a better tone. You want to have different language. Someone can write you a message and says, hey, how about we have a meeting Friday at 9? You can't write back, bet.
I mean, you can.
No, that's not professional.
Well,
That's the whole point.
If they're cool like that, then I mean,
No.
Yeah.
Professional at work has to be different than your own personal stuff. That's the whole point.
I'm just saying, if you're good friends with them,
Doesn't matter. If it's using using system at work, you got to talk professional.
Well, system at work, but you're not using it at work if they're emailing you.
Well, they're emailing you a meeting on Friday. They're not asking you to go out on Friday night. They're saying there's a meeting on Friday for work.
Well, yeah, but
you can't write back bet.
But it's on your email.
A lot of people.
You can say what you want. I mean, no one's really gonna be like, "Oh, you can't say that."
In a group chat, you have a lot of group chats, right?
Yes.
If you put a comment out, does everybody reply to that message? Or do they do an emoji and thumbs up or heart it or whatever?
If I'm asking a question, they would talk back.
Right. But if you say, hey, anybody want to go eat at this restaurant? Check thumbs up. Or heart.
They would say it.
They would say it. Okay. So that's my point.
That's what
right. They reply.
Yeah.
Right. with our messages, because we have a group message for 150 people, imagine 150 people replying to that and saying yes. So they put a message out that says, hey, we have a meeting Friday at 9. You hit thumbs up, everyone's happy. But you can put your own emoji in there if you want, right? And you have like the Joe Cool emoji where the guy has the sunglasses on or whatever, you know. People put their own personal emoji sometimes into the replies, but that just shows you read it. Yesterday we had a meeting with my friends at lunch at 11:30, and my friend sends out a message, are we still meeting for today at 11:30? The guy writes, I forgot all about it. I didn't reply because he says, can we do it next week? And no one replied to him. So I didn't reply because there was nothing to say, right?
Well, yes or no for next week.
Well, yeah, well, but he's talking to the other person who's saying, right?
Well, but you're also a part of it.
Yes, I am.
So
the person who had the thread going sent me a message saying, hey, did you read that we're canceling today? I said, I'm sorry, I didn't reply. Yes. I just get frustrated because the person's always canceling. And I didn't want to reply with something stupid, like an angry emoji. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, even with friends, I try to keep it professional. If it's one-on-one, different story. But if I'm writing anything down, I try to keep that professional, like I do with the punctuation and whatnot. Digital body language. The tone and how you write is also very important. I'm very descriptive when I write my notes. So when you're writing notes for like documenting situations, very, very clear message. Okay. And I had a situation one time with a student where I had to say, here's what happened, A, B, C, D, E, and we're at F now. And I let my boss know. He wrote back, says, sounds like you handled it well. That's all. I just needed him to know he read it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But I was not a happy camper. And I've gone back and I've saved that email and I've gone back and read the message and I'm like, yeah, I still think I wrote it very professionally, even though to this day it still pisses me off. You know, and let me tell you what it was. Let me see what your opinion on this is. I was teaching night class, 7 to 10 or 8 to 10, whatever it was. First day of class, the guy walks in, leaves in 30 minutes. I'm like, class isn't over. And he says, oh yeah, but I have a soccer game tonight I got to go to. Okay, whatever. He misses Monday. I mean, he leaves Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. He misses. Thursday, he comes in and leaves again in 30 minutes. Right? And I stopped him and I said, hey, you do understand that participation and everything is required in this course. He goes, yeah, but I don't have to be here if I don't want to. I said, well, you missed 2 days in the summer course. I dropped you already. And you need to go talk to your dean and try to see if you can re-enroll. You know, it was a 5-week class and you missed 2 days. I dropped him. I thought he wasn't coming back. He left the first day and didn't come back. I assumed he had dropped. So I dropped him. Was that a little bit of vengeful spite in me? Maybe. But
I think
it was in my rights. If you miss more than 1 day, I can drop you.
I should have done a warning email, at least, not just immediately do it.
Oh,
because what if something did happen and you just dropped them? And you'd feel. What have you got to like?
Hold on, I have an example. I have a perfect example
Okay,
of this.
go ahead.
I'm teaching a class, and the student walks in and goes, hey, Mr. Murphy, first day of class. I'm like, I'm sorry, you look familiar, but how do you know me? She says, I was in your class 2 years ago.
In that same one? Or
yeah. And I said, and why are you taking the against this? Because I failed. And I said, well, why did you fail? She says, because I was in a car accident and I flipped my car and I was in a coma for 3 months. And you dropped me.
Yeah. That's a perfect example of what I mean. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, is it my responsibility to reach out to students as a teacher?
Yes.
You think so?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Communication is key, right?
It's on my syllabus. Come to class or I drop you.
Or at least say you want to have a meeting on why you're missing already. If not, then I'll just have to drop you. At least give them like a choice or like options so they know what they're dealing with.
I do that with my high school dual credit courses.
I mean, you should do it with every course.
No, I don't do it for adult courses because I expect you to be responsible. You know, if you miss a test, okay, you get a 0. You know, now if you reach out to me and say there's a reason this happened, I can't take the test, or I couldn't, or whatever, before the deadline's over, I'll work with you. But if you don't tell me anything, and then at the end of the semester, like, hey, Mr. Murphy, can you do something? I'm failing your class, and no, it's too late. You know, that's how I am. But anyway, last one but not least here is meeting preparedness. You want to be able to go into the meeting knowing what's going to be discussed and have some feedback, because it affects you, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you want to be able to go into a meeting and have the feedback available for them. Okay. So I'll tell you what, like, you know, hear this story. How about we hear a story from the fire and hear from someone else's point of view?
Okay. Sounds good.
All right, let's hear the story from the fire at some point today.
Raises are recognition, not rewards. In today's story from the fire, a new employee, Sam, sends a long, rambling email with no clear subject line to a senior director and wonders why they don't get a response. A colleague, Maria, sends a concise email with a specific subject line and a clear call to action, getting an immediate and positive reply. Maria understood that clarity is kindness. That was a story from the fire. Murphman, are you feeling the heat?
Now, hold on. They don't know what happened. That's behind the scenes. Okay. Don't worry about it. Okay. That was funny though. So again, a long message doesn't get answered. Maria sends a concise email with specific subject line and gets a response. Because bosses don't have time to be doing that. Did you know 90 to 95% of your time as a manager is spent dealing with employee issues?
Yeesh. That's
a lot. Right.
That's a little sad. Well, I mean, it depends like what you're dealing with the employees. Like if you're doing scheduling or if there's like drama and there's like
anything working with responding to emails, positive, negative, it doesn't matter. 95% of your job is interacting with employees. You know, it's not about having meetings, although there's people that have a lot of meetings.
Yeah.
When I was in the Army, one thing I learned was the colonel or the commander would go to a meeting, right?
Yeah.
And then they would come and have their own meeting at the battalion, and then they have company meeting, and then we had a detachment meeting. And he had to go to all of them because it was different information passed down from different people. And I realized at that point, there's too much bureaucracy in the military. Like, this could be done more efficiently, I would think.
You would think so.
You would think so. But yeah, the commanders have to go to so many meetings, it's not even funny. And then they have to pass that information on to their lieutenants and sergeants and everything, and so on and so forth. And they get things done, but there's so much time in meeting. It's crazy. That's why you never see the commander around. People are always like, well, he's never at work. Well, he's not at work, but he's in a meeting. You know, it's interesting. One of the things we do in the military is called staff duty, where we have to work at the company level, battalion level. Sometimes I even work post level, like at the general's office. And your job is to be there overnight for any emergencies come on to the unit. Someone dies, someone gets a DUI, that kind of stuff that they let you know about. My job was to sweep them off the floors and clean it up and make it look all nice, right? Because in the Army, there's no janitors. We are the janitors.
Yeah.
And the supervisor gets to sleep because they have to be back at work the next day sometimes. So even though they worked all night, they're still expected to work the next day.
God.
And that's the military for you. There was times when I had to go to work all day, and then late at night, they're like, Billy can't come in, you need to cover for him. I'm like, wow, I'm not even ready to spend an all-nighter. You know what I mean? So I would tell the sergeant I'm on duty with him, like, hey, can I sleep a little bit? Because I was not ready for an overnight shift. He goes, yeah, go ahead. You know, people would sleep. In basic training, they have this thing called fire watch, where you have to be awake to protect from fires. It's just a way to mess with you, basically, right? Although it is a true thing, but you have to wake up the next person, then they come on, then you know, every hour someone switches, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was one night I was on duty and I fell asleep. And you don't want the drill sergeant to walk in and catch you sleeping, because that's dereliction of duty. You're in trouble. You're not gonna have a good day. I fell asleep by mistake. When I woke up, it was like 4 hours later. And I went to wake up somebody, and they're like, why are you waking me up? Why isn't I said, oh, because I was working on some stuff. I just kept working, you know, writing letters, whatever, and I just let people sleep. No one knew, thank God, right? But had the drill sergeant walked in, my life would have been over. You know.
And no one to this day knows about it.
No. I mean, it doesn't matter anymore. It was.
Well, I mean, you never told like your comrades or anything, just like, oh yeah, remember that day?
No. There's just some things you don't tell people. If you screw up, keep it to yourself sometimes. No one needs to know.
When having like last day, like before you leave for like ever.
No. Well, that happened. Let me tell you.
Oh God.
For a while there, I was falling down a lot at work. Right?
From what? Just bad feet?
New
feet,
medication that was making me dizzy, I think is what it was. Now that I look back on it. But I was walking and my ankle, I was on a curb and I tripped, I slipped, twisted my ankle and I fell down. And I fell on top of a kindergartner. And that was because I was walking with her. I didn't fall on top of her. I pushed her out of the way and she scratched her leg. So I had to report it to the mom and make the report and everything. A couple days later, a different spot, I hit another curb and my ankle was weak already. And I fell down again. And I reported that one because people saw it, right?
Yeah. Everybody saw it. It was drop off and you were in the front for daycare.
A couple of weeks later, I'm throwing a football to a friend of mine. I threw it and I was on the sidewalk. I stepped off the curb and it was a higher curb than I was expecting.
Mm-hmm.
And literally it was probably about 5 inches high, right?
God,
I was expecting a smaller curb.
Yeah.
And when I stepped, I lost my balance and I reached out for the tree and I missed the tree. So I collapsed, right? And when I hit my arm, I hit my hip. I really I injured myself. Remember when we were in Vegas, I couldn't walk because of that.
Yeah, you were bruised.
I was.
You hit your hip down to your leg on concrete and then you hit your arm on the asphalt.
Yeah, on the corner of the ramp.
And the ramp, yeah.
And never told anybody what happened. And for that one, I was really injured.
Well, yeah. Your whole, let me think. If I remember, it was from your, like, almost your shoulder all the way down to your wrist. Yeah.
My whole arm was blood, like bruised.
It was all purple. It was turning yellow at one point.
And
I was like, oh, well, you're going to lose an arm.
And there was people who witnessed it. And I told everybody, shut up. just shut up. No, just don't. It never happened. Then all of a sudden my arm started bruising. I started having hip issues. I'm like, oh my God, man, I should have filed workman's comp or something, right? I never told the boss. The secretary was leaving to go to another job. And before she left, she told the boss, hey, let me tell you what happened to Murphy one time. So my boss calls me into the office and she says, what happened that day? And I looked at her, I said, I don't know what you're talking about. Straight up lied to her face. And she says, such and such told me that you fell down and everything. I'm like, well, I reported those accidents to you. No, she says, there's one that you didn't report. And I said, I don't know what you're talking about. Well, why would she tell me? I don't know. I think she's leaving trying to just cause trouble for me. And my boss was like, okay.
Would you get in trouble for not telling her?
Not really, but I got injured at work and I can sue them and it becomes a liability for work and everything. So it's more a
well, even if they have no
record.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, you know, but there was witnesses and there was injuries. Right?
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
but
so
you only could sue if sorry, the ice maker. Focus. Sorry. It's because we have the door open. My ADHD. Even if they like if you fall and you don't report it, you can't sue, right? Since you didn't like try getting anything out of it. Because you can't just go into a company,
well, I
hurt
failed,
yourself, and then just be like, "Oh,
I failed because I didn't report it, and that would have been their protection." But if it was serious enough, you can sue for anything, and nowadays people approve stupid lawsuits. But anyway, the point being is, I asked my friends to keep a secret, and everyone kept the secret except that one person. So don't share stuff with people if you don't want them to know. That's the bottom line.
Well, was she there when it happened?
No, we were laughing about it, dude, because it was funny. It was funny until I started getting bruised and hurt and couldn't walk.
Did you have to wrap your arm one time to hide it?
No. I didn't wrap my arm.
I thought you did.
But I had my shoulder injured. Remember, they put the tape on me.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Now there was another time I injured my shoulder, and that one, I fell. I caught myself on the table, and my arm like completely went around, and yeah. And I just sat there and I was almost crying, dude. You know, I don't cry. And she saw me and she went and told the principal. The principal came out and told me what happened. And I couldn't lie. Everyone, you know, we're there in the front office, and so they sent me to the emergency room. So I had to go to an urgent care clinic and everything. Anyway, the point being is, don't keep secrets from your coworkers. Okay, if it's going to come back and haunt you, but at the same time, don't tell everybody anything, even if it's after the fact, because that lost my credibility with my supervisor. Because I lied to her. She knew I lied to her when I said, I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I mean, you couldn't like try to defy it into one of the other accidents.
I did. I said,
no, but
I
like
did fall.
Even if you reported it, it kind of was like the same thing. So you could have like guilt trip her, being like, "Oh yeah, I know. Remember, I did report it,
No,
and
I said
fell."
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. She said, no, this was a different one that you did not report. She knew the difference.
Oh, okay.
And what's funny was when I was leaving, and she's like, "Hey, can I ask you a question? What happened that day that you fell?" And I laughed and I said, "Oh God, you really want to know the story?" And I told her the whole story, and I had pictures of my arm and everything. And she was like, "I'm like, I couldn't miss work. Like it wasn't going to work." You know, it's crazy. Even though I got injured at work, I would have had to take my personal time to go to all my doctor appointments. So I used up all my vacation, which I don't think is fair if it's work related. You know, anyway.
I don't know.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, let's get to the heat map and let's talk about those steps we can take to professionally communicate more professionally. It's because the show's professional communication.
Yeah.
So how to communicate more professionally and give you those tips. And we can do that in our segment called the heat map.
Track your wins, not just time. The heat map will show you where to focus your efforts for the most impact. Use clear, specific subject lines for every email to get to the point quickly. Keep messages brief and use bullet points to enforce clarity. Know the goal for every meeting you attend and create a clear agenda for every meeting you run. The map is drawn. Back to Murph Man for the next segment.
Concise subject lines, keep messages brief, and know the goal of every message. All right. Simple,
Simple.
right? Very simple. Know what you're going to do. All right. Have a clear plan in place.
You okay?
No. Have a clear plan in place because that concise communication is so important. You know, if I sit here and I tell you, okay, we're gonna have a meeting today and we have 20 topics to talk about, it's gonna be a long meeting,
Yeah.
right? But if I were to say, okay, this is happening, 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 this is, you know, any questions, any questions, any questions? You don't have any questions. We get through the meeting so fast. How do I know as a supervisor that you understood the message? You need feedback, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, though, if you don't want people to tune you out, don't give out too long of a message.
Mm.
Make sense?
Yeah.
One time, Elijah or Shedrick, I forgot who it was, they threw a tennis ball at the TV. And back in the day, this is before the flat screens, we had like vacuum tubes and TVs and everything. And I said, careful, it's going to implode. He goes, you mean explode? Like break, blow up. I said, no, it's going to implode. There's a vacuum inside. And I started talking about a vacuum and talking about how it sucks in. And then, you know, that's what a vacuum does, right? And then I talked about an example of, and I used nuclear bomb technology again, right? Connor, I don't know how young this kid was, but I talked to him probably about 25 minutes. Nuclear bomb explosions, you know, just went off on my tangent. And at the end, I realized I just went off and I said, I'm so sorry. He goes, I promise you I will never throw a tennis ball at TV again.
True. Yeah.
And, you know, did it have to be a 25-minute lecture? No, I'm sorry. I just got my ADD kicked in.
Yeah. That is you every time.
And I don't let things go because, like, for example, when I'm talking to you about different things, if I don't see your understanding or you're ignoring me or you're blowing me off, I keep going. And I tell you, I don't think you understand what I'm saying. And I tell you a different way, in a different way, in a different way, in a different way. You know, you're like, yeah, I got it. No, you don't got it. Yeah, I've told you that before, right?
Yes.
Whether you did or not, I don't believe you. So I just keep going on my rant. And that's a me problem. I know that. At work, I don't do that. I'm like, this is the issue, fix it. And what I thought was funny was one time, the NHS students, the ones we have now are like amazing. I love them to death. And they came up to a meeting and they're like, Mr. Murphy, we want to try some new things for next year. And they started saying things and I said, can I stop you there? I said, I want you all to go back to this document dated this date. I had to go find it and I shared the link in the chat. They all clicked on it, right? And they all opened the same document because when you're in Google, you can actually see who's in the document.
Yeah.
Everything they were talking about was in a message I sent out in August. They were talking to me in May.
Oh.
And I said, I'm not trying to be rude and shut you guys up, but read my letter and tell me what you want to do differently. And one girl goes, nothing. That's exactly what we were going to tell you.
Yeah.
And I said, and she says, we missed this.
I mean, yeah.
And I said, well, duh, but all of you missed it. That just shows me you guys aren't reading what I send out. I said, I need you guys to do better. And then one girl says, that was in August when we started. Now we understand a lot more. That won't happen again. I said, I agree. There was no lecture needed.
I mean, yeah.
I was just saving them time because they were talking about something I already had talked about. And literally it was exactly. It was
word
like,
for word.
Like, one of the things that we had was have an event every month.
Yeah.
And I had them identified. Theirs was just a little bit out of order, but it was the same exact events. Like, for example, we're going to volunteer at the dog shelter this month, right? They did it in January. I had it in August. Whatever, you know, it's like it's the same events. It was so funny. But they're like, you know, now that we understand the job, it's much better. So this year, I am expecting to have an amazing year. I can't wait. You know, we'll see what happens. I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead and take that break. It's 11:15, and we'll be right back in a few minutes.
Sounds good.
Stay tuned.
It's time for a break. Hot Takes with the Murph Man will return after these messages.
Bar stools, cigarette smoke, where the dive bar band's playing all the wrong notes. Them dollar bills still hanging on the wall. This ain't no place for her kind at all. She had them red bottoms on in this blue collar town. There's only two reasons why girls like her come around. She either took a wrong turn back in Austin, or she's looking for love cause she lost it. We were two flames burning, red wine and bourbon, leaning on each other for a little southern comfort, just trying to set the mood right under the neon moonlight. She was chasing that freedom, love a man, leave him, trying to make her mine by the end of the night. I'm a good line away from her number, trying to keep her from being single this summer. Sunsets and sunrise nights have never been my thing. Hell, they might just be what I need after all. Hell, you can't find love till you fall. And she ain't used to red dirt roads, but for what it's worth, feel like home in the middle of the soul bench seat. Every song brings me closer to me. We were two flames burning, red wine and bourbon, leaning on each other for a little southern comfort, just trying to set the mood right under the neon moonlight. She was chasing that freedom, love a man, leave him, trying to make her mine by the end of the night. I'm a good line away from her number, trying to keep her from being single this summer. We were two flames burning, red wine and bourbon, leaning on each other for a little southern comfort, just trying to set the moon right under the neon moonlights. She was chasing that freedom, love a man, leave him, trying to make her mine by the end of the night. I'm a good line away from her number, trying to keep her from being single this summer. Single this summer.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome, Quack.
Program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
The web at mbradio.u.
I don't know why that's so long.
Because I forgot to edit it. I mean,
Well, I mean, I don't know. I thought it was like that because I thought that was the ad itself.
yeah, no. Well, it ends and I just need to like cut it. That's all.
Okay.
So we talked about the heat map, those concise sentences that you can have in the subject lines, concise emails, get to the point, and be prepared for meetings.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about some of those pitfalls you're going to have, some of those things you might fail when you actually try to do this.
Facts, not feelings. Let's talk about where you'll get burned. Some common pitfalls. Using unprofessional slang, emojis, or excessive exclamation points. When in doubt, keep it formal. Hitting reply all when it's not necessary. Save your colleagues' inboxes. Being a passive attendee in meetings. Aim to listen, learn, or contribute. Your presence should have a purpose. Danger zone identified. Back to Murphman for the warning.
We will see the videos. All right, welcome back, you guys. So, using unprofessional slang or emojis or excessive exclamation points. When in doubt, keep it formal, right? Hitting reply all when it's not necessary. It happens by accident, but there are people who reply all the time.
Yeah.
And it annoys me.
That happened to us at school. Yeah, I remember when our teacher or our counselor for the like grade for our whole like grade class, she was emailing us and she was just like, oh, you know, like do this, do that, and then you'll be good, right? And then just dude, this one kid, he just kept questioning it. And it was in like the
thread.
Yeah, it was in the thread, so we all saw it. So like I don't think he meant to reply all, but it was just like he didn't email her personally or privately and just emailed her. So I wish I had the text though, because this was like freshman year. Dude, just boom. I didn't get any notifications except that. If I go to like sent to me or something, 20
can
easily.
Can we agree that people do make mistakes, right?
But I'm like, come on.
At some point, the counselor should have also said, "Hey, let me message you privately."
Well, it's because we didn't care.
I know, but still.
Yeah.
Do me a favor. Talk about a mistake. There's a major mistake someone sent out in the group message. Go ahead and camera. There we go. I need you to look this up for me. Do a Google search. Everyone who's watching right now, do a Google search. Hawaii.
Okay.
Getting bombed message.
The Hawaii getting bombed message refers to a terrifying real-life false missile alert sent on January 13th, 2018. Cell phones across the islands unexpectedly buzzed with emergency notification stating, in all caps, ballistic missile threat inbound to Hawaii. Seek immediate shelter. This is not a drill. You know what?
Hold on. That you've heard of the emergency broadcast system, right?
Yeah.
That was not a hacked message. I don't know how it happened. I mean, you can read about it, but there it is. This went out to everyone. Talk about panic, Connor. Okay. You think about this. If you are the mayor of the city
and you see one of someone from an important job, mind you, presses the wrong button.
Well,
instead of doing the drill, because they was supposed to send out like a drill, you know, being like this testing or something. But imagine sending out that realistic message of that and being like, it's happening, like,
yeah, like
run.
Your goose is cooked.
Yeah.
Was that first of all, let's talk about professional communication. This is a professional communication that got sent out by mistake. But let's talk about it. Ballistic missile threat inbound to Hawaii, period. Seek immediate shelter, period. This is not a drill, period.
Because it's proven a point, as in like it's inbound to Hawaii, seek immediate shelter, and this is not a drill.
emergency subject line, emergency alert, message, concise, and to the point.
Yeah. What are you gonna say?
Well,
Hey, Hawaii, how y'all do it?
well, that's
we
my,
just got word
I'm
that
just
there's
saying,
a missile.
that's a
inbound.
perfect example of what I'm talking about.
Well, yeah, but
Now, I mean, I could read, we could read about it all we want, but I don't know how it got sent out by mistake. I don't know if they were hacked. I don't think they were.
I just said he pressed the wrong button.
No, but that's a message you have to type in.
You don't
You don't just press the button and say, "Oh, today we're doing emergency alert." No, it doesn't work that way. Right? Or it would have been more like, but yeah, that was a real message that got sent out accidentally. There it is. Why was the alert released?
Well, yeah, in all caps. Human error during once the thrice daily shift. And then there's a procedure that occurs at the change of shift where they go through to make sure the system that's working and an employee pushed the wrong button. Yeah, it's not like you type it in. It's just the only one you type in.
You probably click on it, right?
Yeah,
But
the one you type in would be like kidnapping or something.
Did you read how long it took for the message to be corrected?
18 minutes. God, just 38 minutes. Wait, it was corrected by email 18 minutes later, but there was no follow-up mobile text for 38 minutes. God, dude.
The email gets sent out a lot faster than the message.
No.
Okay.
Well,
when you send a text message to a group, I do messages to 300 people, text messages, and I put 30 seconds between each message. Otherwise, it gets jumbled and it doesn't get sent right.
Yeah.
So, but can you imagine for 35 minutes, the island was like we're getting bombed. Can you imagine like the looting that took place, the robberies, the messages that got sent to loved ones? I love you. I'm sorry I cheated on you, or that kind of stuff. Yeah, it was a lot of chaos, dude. But accidents do happen, and that to me, I think that's the greatest example, or the best example of the biggest error in life, aside from one other thing. War of the Worlds. Do you remember that story?
No, I probably do. I just don't remember the name. Continue.
The Masterpiece Theater. I forgot what it's called. Look up War of the Worlds Theater so I can get the right name.
I can't spell. The theater? What do you want me to look up?
Let me see. Hold on. The theater.
The Mercury Theater?
Mercury Theater. That's the one. So in the old days, I don't know if TV was going around. I know there's TV, but every house did not have a TV. They listened to the radio.
Mm-hmm.
They would all sit around and they would hear the story.
Mm-hmm.
And they would sit there for 45 minutes to an hour to listen to a radio show that said, hey, today's show is Little Red Riding Hood. And they would read the story, but they had to have actors playing the roles, right? So it would be just a verbal. It would just be the audio, right?
Yeah, just like monotone and just like.
Well, not really monotone, because they would act it out. Like the Who's on First with Albert Costello.
Okay.
That was a skit that they did. Anyway, it starts off with live from the Mercury Theater, the band's playing right? Tonight, we have this story of whatever, and they start reading a story.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, we break into the show. We're being attacked by aliens. The entire country was calling the police, and because back then you had to dial numbers, you didn't have 911.
Yeah.
Switchboards were lighting up all over the country because people thought it was a real alien invasion. And it was just someone being, this is today's dramatic theater. You have been listening to the Mercury Theater War of the Worlds written by H.G. You're like, what? You know, but yeah, for an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, the whole country was panicking.
It's crazy, dude. That's insane.
So when the movie's War of the Worlds, you know, they have a Tom Cruise version of it. They also have an Ice Cube version of it. Remember the Ice Cube version?
Oh, yeah.
It all started with that version of the Mercury Theater. That's the War of the Worlds. And my point being is sometimes you have errors in communication, and sometimes you are really good at communicating what you're trying to communicate, but people don't realize you're being funny. So it's really important to be clear on what you're saying to people. It's really clear to be listening to what people are saying and actively listening, not listening, preparing to respond. You have to listen, take it in, think, and then send it out. Okay? It's called active communication and active listening.
Yeah.
When you're sending an email, understand that people are not going to be able to understand. They're not going to have you to question when they get an email. So your email has to be pretty clear. Now, have you ever, well, there's an example to show you how people communicate. I want you to tell me, and again, we talked about it at the beginning of the show. This is not planned in any way. So this is the first time I want to ask you a question, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I want you to tell me how to make a peanut butter sandwich. Peanut butter and jelly. Okay?
Like step by step, or?
Yeah, like start at the very, very first step that you would think of.
All right.
Okay.
First step, I would think of wanting a peanut butter.
Okay, all right.
PB&J sandwich.
You're giving me instructions on how to make one.
Okay. Second, grab a plate.
Okay.
Go get the bread. Go get the peanut butter. Go get the jelly. All right. Open the bread. Take one slice out. Well, take the quarter piece out first. Then take
take the butt piece. Okay.
Yeah, and then just put it back. And then put it on the
back
plate.
In the bag.
The butt piece.
Oh, okay.
Because you have to
okay.
Put that loaf of bread on the plate.
The loaf of bread on the plate?
The slice of bread.
Slice of bread on the plate.
Sorry,
okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I have the butt end back in the bag. And I have the bread on my plate.
Yes. I should get 2 slices. Sorry.
Okay.
And put them side to side of each other.
Okay.
And open up the peanut butter. Go get a knife real quick. Put it down. Go get a knife. And then come back. And then get a plastic knife. Okay. Just want to make sure it's not like a steak knife or anything. Scoop up from the peanut butter from the jar. And then gently spread it all over the bread.
Okay.
Gently. I said gently.
Did you say gently?
Yes. I'm like gently spread it all over the bread. Nice and slow. And try to even it out along the whole bread. Yeah. Okay. Like I said, put it down. I'm like, just scoop it out. I didn't say pick it up.
Oh, so you're supposed to put a knife in here, pull out the peanut butter.
Yes. And then spread it on the bread.
Okay.
Nice and evenly. Okay.
You're not telling me to hold it with the other hand or anything. Do you see how this works?
Okay.
When teachers do this with kids,
I guess.
Right? You can say, grab some bread. Grab a loaf of bread. Now, put peanut butter on it. And they get the peanut butter jar and they drop it on top of the loaf. Right?
Yeah.
So even though you think you're being very clear with what you're saying, doesn't mean they're understanding it that way.
I knew you're going to ask. I knew it was gonna be something like that. I just didn't know what. So I'm like, step by step. I gotta think about it step by step. And yeah.
How many times have we put together furniture
A lot.
and we're reading the instructions and there's pictures of it, right?
I don't even read the instruction. I just look at the picture.
Well,
I see this piece with the arrow pointing into there. I'm like, okay.
do you know why there's pictures instead of text?
People are illiterate.
Yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
Yeah, people can't read. So they have images. Now, sometimes the images just
Don't
not
help.
Yeah. I will tell you,
Oh.
your godfather, Richard, and I, he gave you this remote control car one year. There's a reason you don't know what I'm talking about because you never got it.
Oh.
It was a metal RC car, really expensive, I'm sure. And it had panels. And you had to screw the panels in. And it said, put this panel here, and then the screw goes here, whatever, right? There was no pictures. It was all instructions. Get panel B, panel A, put it, And we started putting it together, and we got to a point where we're like, this is not making sense. We can't figure this out. We took it apart, put it back together. He goes, I'm going to try to go figure this out. We never did. Right? And I think about those instructions a lot when I'm thinking about stories like this, because it's like, I'm not stupid. I can read. He wasn't stupid. But the instructions were not written clearly.
Really? Now I'm
In my
questioning
opinion.
it. As
Now,
in,
in my
like, I
opinion.
want to see them, but I can't.
Okay. In my opinion. So when we have this, it's like, remember, other people have to understand what you're saying. Just because you know what you're talking about does not mean what other people will know what you're talking about.
Mm. Especially if it's a product where everybody needs to know what you're saying.
Right. All right. So I'll tell you what, let's go to the afterburn and just reflect on what we've learned today. We talked about, where you're going to get burned. We talked about the heat map with the actionable steps. So let's go to the afterburn and talk about
Heat shields.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Because we talked about where you get burned. Now we're going to talk about
How to protect yourself
how
from
to
getting
prevent
burned.
that. Yes.
Good catch.
The prep is the protection. Here are your heat shields. Your communication heat shield is the Clarity First filter. Deploy this shield by asking yourself before sending any message, what is the single action I need the recipient to take? If you can't answer, don't send it yet. This filter shields both your reputation and the recipient's time from low-value, ambiguous noise. Establish standard boundaries for internal communication platforms like Slack or Teams. Let your colleagues know your active hours so you aren't burning out on late-night notifications or mixing up urgent tasks with casual chatter. Create standard operating templates for your routine updates and meeting requests. Having pre-built outlines ensures you consistently hit all necessary project metrics without overcomplicating the message. The shields are up. Murphman, what's next?
All right. So deploy the shield by asking yourself before sending the message, what is a single action I need? Blah, 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 blah. Why am I sending this message? What's the purpose of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very important. Establish standard boundaries. My syllabus for my students says you can reach me anytime Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Do not message me after the fact, right?
Yes.
One night we were out 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. I don't know if you remember that or not.
I remember.
And
we usually do that.
a student, I think they texted me or they called me.
Texted.
Saying I'm having trouble with something. And I wrote back, please reply. Please don't message me this late at night. Luckily, I'm awake, but I'm not going to answer you until tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock.
Mm.
Poor planning on your part does not make it an emergency on my part.
Yeah. And then I remember, I think another student texted you late, and you woke up to it.
No.
Or something. I forgot what it was.
A 2:30 in the morning message.
Yeah.
And I replied with, you've woken me up. This could have been sent by email. I'm going back to bed. And they wrote back, sorry. The next morning, first thing in the morning, 9 o'clock hit, I sent the message. I said, I want to say that I understand you were doing something at 2:30 in the morning, but I am not working at 2:30 in the morning. You need to be more aware of what other people are doing. Setting those boundaries is very important.
Yeah.
Another, this is sort of nothing, something. What the hell am I trying to say? Is sort of related to what we're talking about, but it's not really related. One of my rules when you invite me to go out places is give me notice. Right? I don't want to be an afterthought to you.
Mm-hmm.
If you want me to be there,
Then say it.
let me know with enough time. Right? If you're having a party, like for example, I could be telling you, hey, you know, August 18th, I'm having this amazing birthday party, blah, 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 right?
Mm-hmm.
But I never invite you. Are you going to show up to my party?
No.
No, because I didn't invite you. And then you don't show up, you'll be like, hey, you know, the day before, are you going to come to my party tomorrow? I wasn't invited. Dude, I've been telling you about it for like 3 months. Did you ever say you're invited to come to my party? I'm not going to make those assumptions, right?
Mm.
You need to be aware of how you communicate to people. Just
Yeah.
because you're talking about it doesn't mean you invited them. Just because you mention it doesn't mean they understand. Communication is so, so important. Okay?
Yeah. But I mean, some people, it's just like, if I do talk about it, then you are formally invited, because it would be like kind of a douche move to talk about it in front of you if you're not getting invited. You know what I mean?
Okay. So if you're talking about an event going on at work, I can just show up?
Well, then that's
Oh, no.
no.
'cause You just
no.
made this up. You just
No,
said.
no, because yes, you got to clarify, but it was your own party. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm throwing
It
a
was
party for my
personal then, yeah.
coworkers. I'm throwing a party for my coworkers.
Then that's specifically for your coworkers. But if you say, I'm throwing a party, such and such,
You're just going to assume you're invited?
well, if you talk about it, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I say you have to physically, or
For
you have
you,
to
yeah. But
ask.
for me, if I'm talking to you about a party, you're
Yeah.
invited, because I mean, I'm talking to you about the party for a reason.
Maybe you're trying to get feedback.
Yeah, feedback. And then I'll be like, your feedback, and let's go.
You know, I don't agree with that. Anyway,
Okay.
when you're sending a message, don't assume that there's understanding. You know, just because you understand it doesn't mean that other people will.
Yes.
When I had to take over a class for the teachers, I have to send out a message to all students that says, hey, FYI, I'm your new teacher. And they're going to reply with, what happened to the old teacher? She's no longer with us. You know, she's somewhere else. Not that she's moved on in this realm. You got to clarify that, right? She hasn't died. She's no longer working here. So when I write the message, I write something to the effect of, she's no longer employed here. She has moved on to other opportunities, employment, whatever. Because I know that's the question they're going to ask me. Another question is,
why?
Well, yeah. And I say, I'm not privy to that information. You know, I do not understand. I do not know why they left. All I know is I'm your teacher starting now. And I've had to do this like several times over the years. And throughout the semester, I get kids. They're like, hey, miss, I need to. I'm like, it's Mr. What happened to miss? She's been gone 3 months, dude. Like, where the hell have you been? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you're sending a communication, think of all the questions you have about that and make sure it's in the system, in the email that you're sending out. And like that, you're able to do that better. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is, when we're talking about communication, we have to reflect on those things, right? So let's talk about those things. I mean, those questions we have to go back and review this in our afterburn.
Reflect on your value. In today's Afterburn, here are some questions for you to reflect on. What does my current digital communication style say about me? Am I a clear and concise writer? How can I contribute more effectively in my next team meeting? Reflection complete. Murphman, time for your final thoughts.
Remember, your communication is how people's first exposure to you is. And if you're writing stupid stuff, misspelled words and everything, that doesn't look good at all, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you clear and concise? You know, one of the things I've been told, like when I did my notes for my therapy, was people could read a story and they could read my chart and you could see the progression. But you could also see, you could imagine me in my session doing things like, for example, you know, the kid said this and the mom replied with, but whatever. And it was something like exclamation or like, I didn't know that or something. And someone says, I can see you sitting in the meeting going, really, mom? You know, I didn't write that, but the way I write is descriptive. Okay. And then also, how can you contribute to the next team meeting? It's a team meeting. You have to have something to say. Now, again, you don't have to say something at every meeting.
But I mean, it's nice once in a while to like raise your hand and ask a question or put something in.
There's been times where the boss puts out a message and I'm like, I'm sorry. I reply to the boss privately. I'm sorry. I'm probably stupid. I said, but I don't understand this. I'm sorry. It's for whatever reason, I'm not understanding what you're saying. And she'll reply with, it's this. And I'll say, are you referring to this? And she'll say yes or no. And then we clarify it. And then after I'm done, I say something like, I'm sorry I took your time here. I hope I'm the only one that had these questions. And she replies back usually, you're not.
I was like, imagine like since you're doing yes, and no, whatever. You're like, I hope I wasn't the only one. She just like, no.
Right?
No.
So she realized like, yeah, I could have clarified it. So she sends out a second email that says that says something to the effect of, to clarify, I am referring to this, or, you know, and a lot of people like, oh, it happens, right? Just because we know what we're talking doesn't mean we know how to express ourselves. All right. So one thing that I like to talk about here, you know, is AI, programs, technology, and everything. So I want to talk about our digital inferno today. Let's talk about that real quick.
Oops.
AI is your proofreader. Use AI grammar tools, Grammarly, email assistants, not just for spelling, but to check for tone and conciseness, ensuring your digital body language is professional. Utilize project management apps, Asana, Trello, to place action items and deadlines transparently, reducing ambiguity that can cause friction over Slack. Always use the schedule send feature on email to avoid sending late-night messages, respecting colleagues' boundaries. The Inferno is digital. Back to Murphman to talk about the segment.
One of the things I love about cell phone text predictors is that it autocorrects your messages. I want to say the word duck. I write the word duck, but something else comes up.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And it tells me to suck. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, get the duck out of here. Something like that, right?
Yeah.
It autocorrects. And when you're sending an email, sometimes, because I suck at typing, even the AI is like, what? Did you mean this? So even after you use Grammarly and you correct it, you need to go back and proofread it and make sure that it's there, because sometimes it autocorrects words and it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Program management apps like Trello and Asana, okay, I use Google Keep. It keeps everything on a list. And I love AI because I tell you, it combines all my information as, hey, go to Google Keep and make me a list of all my to-dos. It's done, you know. And I always use a scheduled send. When I have to send messages to students, right, I have one message that says, this is you're passing. Okay, you're doing good. Keep it up. I have one that says, "Hey, you're doing okay. You're passing, but it looks like you might be struggling. Come by and see me." They're sort of like, you're right on the border of passing. You're almost there. Let me help you get over the hump. That's another email that says, "Okay, you're not doing as good as you should be at this point in the class. Let's get together and let's get you caught up." And there's some like, you really haven't done a damn thing.
Yeah.
And I can't write that, can I?
No.
So I have to figure out a way to say that. And I'll say something to the effect of, "It seems you have trouble getting started. How can I help you with that? Or when can I expect you to come into my class for assistance?"
Yeah.
But do I send those messages out at 10 o'clock at night?
No. Some teachers do. I'll admit some teachers do like stay up a little bit late to do work or emails or something.
I can be late till 2 a.m. working,
Just
but I
not
can
always.
schedule it
Yeah, you schedule it
for 9 a.m.
Yeah.
When they're awake and they're going to get the message.
at a reasonable time. Yeah.
Okay. At the end of the year, every teacher sends every student messages, and I refuse to do that. I'll send one message, and I'll send a text message, and then I might call some of them. I'm not going to call every student. I'm not going to, but I do message every student. That list of messages I told you.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they're doing good, I say, "Hey, good job," because I want the students to know that I am looking at what they're doing. So that send later message, that scheduling send is so important, because even if you're working at 10 o'clock at night, schedule it for the next day. Don't send it out 10 o'clock at night. All right. Text messages. I have to send a text message to 250 students at 30 minutes each. That's 125 minutes. Okay, that's almost a little over 2 hours if the system's running 100% perfect. Can I start sending that message at 7 o'clock at night? Because 7 o'clock is reasonable to send a text message. Yeah, but if I'm sending out 250 messages, there's people going to be getting it at 9:30, 10, 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And that's happened too. You don't realize when you put the time down, like AM, PM. So yeah, listen, it's out at 11 o'clock AM, but it's PM. People getting messages at midnight. That happens. Be careful how you're scheduling it. Make sure you're paying attention to what you're doing. Okay.
I remember one time a teacher emailed the class and they were like, "This project is due at 11 p.m. today." Right? But they sent it at, no, was it p.m.? No, 11 a.m. the next day, right? But they said like p.m. So it was like, you have to get it done that, day. Because it was supposed to be like 11 a.m. and it's supposed to be like, oh, the next day it's due,
Yeah.
But she sent it at p.m. So we thought it was like, we had to work overnight to finish it.
Yeah, exactly. When I have my Blackboard classes, I set up the time that they're deployed.
Mm-hmm.
And they open at midnight, 12:01, and they close at 11:59, whatever.
Yeah.
There's times I change it by mistake and I don't realize it. So kids who wait till the last minute, like afternoon on Sunday, are like, "How come I can't get in?" I'm like, "What do you mean? It goes till midnight." "Well, no, it's saying I can't get in." "Oh, I put PM instead of 8." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I make mistakes. But
we all do.
That doesn't look very professional when you do that. Try to be perfect. It's hard, but we try to be. Right? So I'll tell you what, let's get to today's final burn for today, Connor. What do you think?
Sounds great.
Know your worth, show your work. The final take from today's discussion is, clarity is kindness. Respect people's time, get to the point, and communicate like your career depends on it. Because it does. The final flame has been struck. Back to Murph Man to wrap the show.
I'm so sorry.
I'm like, you playing a game?
I was ending my TikTok feed.
Okay.
Got some rewards. So I was like, oh,
Yeah.
The live was shared by viewers 50 times.
How many
That's-
viewers do you have? Well, we'll talk about it after.
No, but that was cool. They actually shared it 50 times. So thank you for everyone who shared that. I appreciate that. Final burn. Know your worth, show your work. Final take from today's episode is respect people's time. Get to the point and communicate like your career depends on it, because it does.
Mm-hmm.
Very simple. One wrong message and you're screwing everything up.
Yeah, that's basically how it is.
Or the exact opposite. When I replied all for my graduate, I had a lot more respect from everybody after that. You know, and some were like,
Really?
"You're a loser if you're working here at that part time." You know what I mean? Yeah. It
People
goes
are
both
like
ways,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you guys, that's it for today. Connor, thank you very much for your time.
Of course. Thank you
Appreciate
for
your help.
having me again,
I will have you anytime
or every time.
or every time, as long as you're willing to do this. I do appreciate that. You guys, thank you very much for listening. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
If you have any questions, email me at murphman@purehottakes.com, or you can call at 915-800-3244 and go through my menu of options. Until next week, we'll see you then.
See you soon.
Thank you for watching today's episode. Check us out on all social medias at Pure Hot Takes, or go to purehottakes.com for more information.
That's a wrap on this episode. If you're looking for more, you can find all the best clips from the show on our social media pages. For all the links and more information about what we talked about today, visit purehottakes.com. And if you want to watch the full replay or get access to our premium content, subscribe now at stream915.com. We appreciate you tuning in.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.